Chapter 5. Dreaming Before Knowing. Life aboard the Meridian had settled into a comfortable routine. Captain Terv reviewed reports. Dr. Selin argued with the predictive models. Chief Engineer Korv continued his unofficial study of advanced technological explosions. And analyst Vera had developed an unusual hobby. She watched human entertainment. At first, nobody paid much attention. The ship's database encouraged cultural immersion, and most observers eventually sampled local music literature or visual arts. It was considered good scientific practice. Unfortunately, Vera had become fascinated by something called science fiction. Nobody aboard the Meridian understood why. The first signs of trouble appeared one evening in the observation chamber. Vera entered carrying a data tablet. "You need to see this." Korv barely looked up from his console. "Is it another rocket?" "No." "Another explosion?" "No." Korv finally raised his eyes. "Then I fail to see the urgency." Vera placed the tablet on the table. "Human entertainment." Captain Terv sighed. "We have spent a year studying their engineering. Why would we study their fiction?" Vera activated the display. "Because their fiction appears to become reality." The room fell silent. Then Korv laughed. "Impossible." That was my first reaction. "What changed your mind?" Vera enlarged an ancient video recording. A television series from the 20th century. Selin examined the image. "The visual effects are terrible." "That is not the interesting part." The recording showed humans aboard a fictional spacecraft, carrying small communication devices and portable computers. Korv shrugged. "So?" Vera opened a second screen, displaying modern human technology. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. The engineer frowned. "That is unfortunate." Over the following weeks, the investigation expanded. It had not been authorized. Officially, it did not exist. Unofficially, it became one of the most active research projects aboard the ship. Vera assembled a growing list. Jules Verne had imagined submarines capable of crossing oceans and voyages to the moon. Arthur C. Clarke had described communication satellites decades before they existed. Isaac Asimov had proposed ethical laws governing intelligent machines. Centuries before practical robotics, Philip K. Dick had written extensively about artificial consciousness. Long before humans created modern artificial intelligence, Robert Heinlein had envisioned orbital infrastructure before humanity possessed the means to build it. The evidence accumulated. The crew became uncomfortable. One afternoon, Korv entered the laboratory carrying 6 digital archives. "I have developed a hypothesis." Selin looked up immediately. "Whenever you begin a sentence that way, my workload increases." Korv ignored her. He projected a timeline across the room. Human fiction appeared first. Human engineering followed decades later. The pattern repeated again and again. The engineer crossed his arms. One of these authors was not human. Nobody spoke. Captain Terv slowly lowered his cup. "You are serious?" "Entirely." Vera stared at him. "You believe a hidden extraterrestrial observer lived on Earth and became a science fiction writer?" Korv enlarged a portrait of Arthur C. Clarke. He predicted geostationary satellites. Then Isaac Asimov. He anticipated robotic ethics. Then Philip K. Dick. He explored artificial consciousness. Finally, Robert Heinlein. He described permanent space infrastructure. Korv folded his hands behind his back. There are too many coincidences. Selene rubbed her forehead. There are exactly enough coincidences for you to invent an absurd theory. The investigation somehow became official. Captain Terv still had no idea how. 3 researchers spent 2 weeks analyzing the lives of famous human authors. Birth certificates, medical records, personal correspondence, family histories, photographs, financial transactions. Everything pointed toward a single conclusion. They were entirely human. Korv remained unconvinced. One evening, he sat alone studying a portrait of Isaac Asimov. Vera walked into the room. "You are still investigating." "Yes." "You found nothing." "Correct." She sat beside him. "What exactly are you looking for?" Korv stared at the image. "I cannot explain it." "Try." The engineer pointed at the photograph. "He looks exactly like someone pretending to be human." At that precise moment, Captain Terv entered. He glanced at the screen, then at Korv. "Engineer." "Yes, Captain." "That description applies to every human I have ever observed." Korv considered this. An excellent point. The mystery remained unsolved until Selene noticed something far stranger. She gathered the crew in the conference room. Without speaking, she projected 2 timelines. The first contained humanity's greatest technological achievements. The second contained works of fiction. The pattern was unmistakable. Stories came first. Science followed. Engineering followed science. Reality slowly pursued imagination. For several minutes, nobody said anything. Finally, Vera broke the silence. They predicted their future. Selene shook her head. "No." Korv looked confused. "Then what happened?" The xenologist expanded the timelines. "These writers did not predict the future." She pointed at the oldest stories. "They gave future engineers permission to imagine it." Silence filled the room. The conclusion was deeply unsettling. Every civilization in the galactic archive had developed technology through observation and necessity. Humanity appeared to use dreams as prototypes. Captain Terv looked back at the screen. Before they mastered electricity, he pointed at another timeline. They imagined robots. Another, before powered flight. Another, they imagined starships. Selene nodded. "Most species build machines." She paused. "Humans build the idea first." That evening, a new report was transmitted to the Galactic Survey Authority. Mission update: Sol System. Unexpected cultural phenomenon detected. Human fictional literature appears to influence future technological development. Several human authors have accurately anticipated technology centuries before their implementation. No evidence of extraterrestrial involvement has been found. Captain Terv stopped writing. He glanced at Korv. The engineer was still studying old human novels. The captain sighed and added one final recommendation. Continue monitoring human science fiction archives, with the same priority assigned to propulsion laboratories. The ship's computer processed the report. A moment later, it asked, "Clarification requested. Reason for monitoring literary archives." Captain Terv opened his mouth. Korv answered first. "Preventative intelligence." The computer accepted the response. No one had the energy to argue. Far below, billions of humans continued writing stories about distant worlds they had never seen, and hidden in the darkness beyond the moon. An alien crew began to wonder whether imagination itself might be a form of exploration.